must be able to operate both individually and as part of a team. How to become a CAD drafter. There are several routes to becoming a CAD drafter. One alternative is to obtain an associate or bachelor's degree in CAD drafting or a comparable discipline. Another alternative is to enroll in a CAD drafting certification program. Once you have the proper degree or qualification, you may begin looking for entry-level CAD drafting jobs. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, drafters typically complete their education after high school, often through a program at a community college or technical school. Some programs lead to an Associate of Applied Science in Drafting or a comparable degree. Others culminate in a certificate or diploma. There are a few things you can do to improve your chances of success if you want to work in CAD drafting. First, ensure that you have the relevant education or qualifications. Second, obtain experience by working as an intern or completing a CAD drafting apprenticeship. Third, improve your CAD abilities by taking online classes or visiting seminars. Finally, network with other CAD drafters and remain current on the latest CAD innovations. What is the difference between a CAD designer and a CAD drafter? CAD drafters and CAD designers are both skilled professionals that create technical drawings with computer-aided design (CAD) software. However, there are some significant distinctions between the two jobs. CAD drafters are in charge of producing detailed technical drawings of objects, buildings, or other structures. They usually work with blueprints or sketches made by engineers or architects and utilize CAD software to create 2D representations of the objects or structures. CAD drafters must be able to understand complicated technical standards and have a thorough understanding of engineering concepts. They must also be skilled in CAD software and have strong problem-solving abilities. CAD designers are often more creative than CAD drafters. They design new products, building or structures with CAD software, and they may also be in charge of developing marketing materials or representations. CAD designers must comprehend design concepts and think creatively. They must also be skilled in CAD software and have strong communication abilities. CAD drafters are often more technically minded than CAD designers. They are in charge of producing precise and accurate drawings, while CAD designers are in charge of producing creative and innovative designs. Is a draftsman a designer? A draftsman can do some of the things that an architect or designer can do, but not all of them. A draftsman probably doesn't have design education or experience as a designer but is highly skilled in utilizing CAD, computer-aided design and drafting, software to create architectural designs for construction. Is a draftsman an architect? A draftsman is not an architect. They are two different but related professionals. An architect may handle anything from planning, design, and documentation to contract administration and project management. A draftsman, on the other hand, creates designs, usually from sketches produced by the architect or engineer, for building projects or constructions, whether new or renovated. A draftsman's job scope is substantially narrower than that of an architect.
Good evening once again. My name is Dennis Nderi. I am a civil engineer from Kenya and a captain here at Roads Hub. This is the voice behind the guy who has been onboarding you. I have interacted with a few of you guys and it's a pleasure to finally see you here in this meeting and begin our learning journey together. I'm taking this opportunity to welcome you to today's session, and I would like you to remind your colleagues, your friends, whom you might know that are in the program as well to join us because we are kicking it off right now. Uh, Other than that, I would like to hear from a few of you guys drawing lessons from the video I just played. You can introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you are from, your profession, and a thing about you. Then I have this question for you. Uh, what's the difference between a draftsman and a designer? How do their roles differ? And how do these two ladies or gentlemen collaborate to ensure success in our road projects? The floor is open. You can unmute, introduce yourself, and then share your thoughts. Come on, engineers. We need to hear your voices. I will go again. Yes. I will go again. What's the difference between a draftsman and a designer, and how do their roles differ? And how do these two people, ladies or gentlemen, collaborate to ensure that projects are delivered as intended? Or how do they collaborate to ensure the success of road projects? The floor is yours, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to hear your views and again get to hear you speak. Calvin, if you
Okay. Hi, hi,
muted.
Dennis.
Yes, yes, Brian, you can go ahead.
Hello. I hope I'm audible. My name is Brian Okum, a civil engineer from Kenya, and currently a student at Rhodes Hub, with the intention of acquiring the prerequisite knowledge in CAD design. Now, from my understanding, I think the difference comes about from the video. I think the difference comes about comes where uh, a card does mostly the actual drawing, whereas the designer goes an extra mile of coming with new concepts or probably integrating the engineering perspective about the design uh, with respect to, of course, the relevant documents, such as like for Kenya, the road design manual. As in short, me, I think the designer goes into details, whereas the drafter gives a skeleton about the skeleton of what is there what is there to be designed. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Brian, and welcome aboard. Uh, Thank you. I think what you are saying is that the designer is the brains behind the drawings, while the CAD designer or drafter uh, does most of the outputting and detailing of what the designer intended. Someone else? Calvin, I thought you
Hello.
intended to speak. I don't know.
Hello.
Yes, yes, you can go ahead.
I'm Rashid. I'm I'm a draftsman. I'm working uh, since you can say 2005 or 2006. Almost 20 years as a draftsman. So I think I can better explain what is draftsman.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You are the best person, you are the most suited person to explain to us.
Yes, actually, I'll go in detail. Actually, draftsman is an assistant of engineer.
Okay,
So, so engineer is deciding what he has in his mind and what he is designing. And the draftsman, because engineer is cannot make everything mean detailed drawing. He just give the idea. He
sure.
said, okay, make 5 columns. This is the dimensions. Make slab this much thick. He just instruct, and the draftsman make it on the paper or in a CAD. This is one type of draftsman. You can say draftsman is the doer of the engineer. Engineer think and deliver in words, in 5 words, and draftsman make it completely what he want. And again, engineer review his work, and whatever he need to change, he change it, and draftsman make it in a real world. I mean, in a paper or in a program. This is one type of draftsman. And the other job of the draftsman is there is a design, complete design. So draftman is making a shop drawing from that design. So in a design, there are typical things, but draftsman make it in a real dimensions. I mean, in a room, it's given by room sizes only and material of the room, but draftsman putting actual dimensions in a room with materials, with the dimension of the doors. He rechecking everything, the door dimensions, door openings, window openings, floor thickness, and ceiling thickness. Mean whatever the things he has to be. You can say he is a checker of the design. He checked each and every dimension. He checked each and every material which is going to be installed. So he is final. I mean, he is checking everything. So and he is making representable shape of the building, shape of the drawing, and whatever the requirement of the drawing, he providing all that. I mean, if there is a reinforcement drawing, he is providing what type of reinforcement required there, and what diameter, what size of the bar, what shape of the bar, and where it will place, and what is the name of the element. And if he is making architectural plans, he is showing this plan name, levels, and openings, and he is preparing everything like elevations. He is preparing every detail, but he is not the designer. So the thing is that he make draft of that design and he got approval from engineer. So actually he's assisting engineer, like a secretary. I mean, if the boss is want to write some letter, he just explains something to his secretary. Okay, I need to make like this. So the secretary draft that letter.
It's becoming very long now.
Yeah, then the boss is changing what he need to be added and what he need to be removed. The same like drafting, we are making drawings. We are not writing letters. So we are making drawings and we are providing information whatever is required. I mean, we are giving information which if an engineer have that paper, he can work on a site. He don't need to come to office and recheck everything. Okay, where is this detail? Where is this detail? We are providing everything in a one piece of paper. So I think this is draftsman.
Thank you, Rashid, for giving us that from your perspective, and especially since you are in that field.
And one more thing I want to add. Actually, this course is related to civil 3D. I will explain some little detail for civil also. So
Yes, please go ahead.
In a civil drafting, we are preparing plans, we are giving coordinates, we are giving levels on a plan. Then sometime we are providing the profile of the road, and we providing the layout of the road, and like that. I mean, where is the footpath coming, where the parking coming, what type of material we are using in a footpath or in a parking, and where is the opening of the gate. I mean, sometimes we are giving opening for if this is a housing society, so we are providing gate openings, we are providing I mean, what the utilities are there, like light pole is coming where, and road marking, and everything, whatever the designing is provided to the draftsman. He rechecked every design, and he found many mistakes sometimes, and he asked that mistakes, discussed with the engineer. Then engineer decide, okay, what we have to do. So these things are doing by the draftsman. So draftsman is very important person in a project. So he is assistant. He is doing everything. I mean, the engineer is giving task, he is completing. He is like an agent of doing like, you can say, you asking anything to chat GTP. He's a chat GTP of the engineer. He providing information and he is fulfilling his job. So in the recent time, you can say like that.
Thank you. Thank you once more, Rashid. I think you have clearly shown the difference between these two professionals and how you have given the examples of the chat GPT and the secretary. I think it's very clear from now the difference between these two professionals. And
Engineer, can I say?
yes, engineer, you can go ahead.
Yes. What actually Rashid Ali said is absolutely right. I can add just small thing. He said all those things. If a drafter is put into drawing, he need to provide every single detail like measurement. If anything drawing object is there, they have to be measurements. So he is a drafter, but designer can't do measurements, all those things. And designer can make changes, but drafter cannot make a changes. He can take a call, but drafter cannot take a call. This is the difference between drafter and designer.
Thank you, Sai, for reinforcing what Rashid has said. And I think now the discussion is closed between the difference between these two professionals. I think now it's time for us to dive to the contents of our session. Thank you for all of you who have contributed, and to those of you who have listened carefully and understood the difference between these two professionals and how all of these guys come together to ensure that infrastructures are built as intended. Uh, Before we begin, I would like all of you to go to the participants icon on the left corner of your Zoom, the third left icon. Click on it and look at where your name is in the participants list. Make sure that you are joined with your two official names so that we can be able again to identify who you are, and that when we ask questions, we are in a better position to address you as you should be addressed. This will save us from embarrassment. It will save me from embarrassment, because I don't want to find myself in a position where I can't figure out whether it's a lady or a gentleman wanting to speak. And again, it will save you from disrespect. I don't want to be in a position where I'm calling an engineer by the name HP because they have joined as HP. So please, there's someone who has joined with three dots as their name. Just hover the cursor on your name, on where your name is, and when the three dots appear at the end, click on them, then click rename. Please, let's do so. Please, let's do so. There's someone who has joined as three full stops. I don't know who that is. Please check and confirm. We are waiting for you. Click on the participants icon, then your name in the participants list. It will be most probably on the topmost of the list. Then hover the cursor on it, and when the three dots appear to the right, click on them, then click rename, then write your two official names. We're still waiting for the person who has joined as three full stops. Okay. At this point, I would like to welcome Blasius, Engineer Blasius, who will be taking us through today's session. Blasius, are you in a position to speak?
Yes. Kindly confirm if you can hear me.
Loud and clear, engineer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Engineer Dennis, for taking us through the first part of the session. So my name, once again, is Blasius Chelimo. I'm a civil engineer from Kenya. I'm also a member of the road sub team, and I'm going to take you through the first session, which is basically the ultimate civil 3D user interface and 2D drafting. I can see that Wes is raising his hand. So maybe Wes, before I take over.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Blasius. I didn't want to cut you off once you start the presentation, but I thought it was wise for me to make this announcement that kindly a good numbers have the software already, but for those who are not having it installed, kindly reach out as soon as possible. Immediately after the class, reach out so that we get you situated. For the rest, thank you. Thank you for being cooperative and supporting me, helping me help you. Yeah, in that manner. And I wish you a happy learning. And if you need help in the course of the training, kindly reach out and I'll be able to support you. Once again, for those who we still have appointments, make sure you reach out immediately. I'll close software support in the weekend. Sunday will be the last day. So anyone reaching out after Sunday, I won't be able to support them. It's not that I don't want, but I know I won't be in a position to do so. So back to you, Blasius.
So, thank you, engineer. So again, kindly make sure that you reach out to Engineer West, as he has said, because after the session, we are going to give out a deliverable and we'll expect that you'll work on that deliverable. If you don't have the software, then it's going to be a little bit difficult for you. So allow me to share my screen. I'll show my screen. If you can see my screen, just drop a 1 in the chat box. Just drop a 1 in the chat box. So you guys are not seeing my screen. Thank you, Said. So we've said that we're going to do Civil 3D user interface. The reason why we're doing this is because the software that we're going to use for this course is Civil 3D. It will be good for us to understand some of the tools or how just the layout of Civil 3D looks like before we jump into road design, right? That's why we thought that it's important for us to do the Civil 3D interface tour. Then after that, we'll be doing a small drafting work so that we get to use some of the tools that we're going to talk about. So I understand Engineer Rashid has almost 20 years of experience. This class is going to be super, super boring for you. But we humbly request you that you just bear with us because we are not all starting from somewhere. Some of us maybe we've not interacted with the software before. So it will be good for us also to be patient with the rest so that they can be able to learn a thing or two. And based on your experience, I hope that you are also going to share some of your knowledge with the rest of the engineers in the team. So yeah, that's that basically. So what are we going to learn? How to open Civil 3D. So if you open Civil 3D for the first time, you're not going to get all these things that are in my workspace. The reason why we are getting all these projects is because these are some of the projects that I've been working on. So when you work on projects, they'll go under the recent. But if this is your first time, you've installed the software for the first time, you'll find that you'll only have some maybe 3 drawings here, some samples by Autodesk, and then the screen will be just blank. Yeah, so that's basically how it is. So if you want to open a new drawing, we have, first of all, I'm going to use the Civil 3D 2026. So most of the tools will be just the same. If you're using from 2024 upwards, I think most of the tools will just be the same. So if you want to open a new drawing, you just go to open right here where you're having open. Now this is in the case or in the instance where you're opening an existing drawing. You're opening an existing drawing. So when you click on open, it will take you to wherever you've stored that drawing, right? For me, it's taking me here because this is the last drawing that I was accessing. So, but in the event that you are opening a new drawing, entirely a new drawing, you click on new. So that's what you're going to do. When you click on new, you can see that there's how can I call it? There are some text that have been written there. It's saying Autodesk Civil 3D Metric NCS DWT. That's the template. It's going to pick the metric template. So sometimes when you click on it, it will ask you which template do you want to use. For our case, you're going to use the metric. We have the imperial. Okay, so it's safe to say that we have the Civil 3D imperial and the Civil 3D metric. We're going to use the metric because our unit or our measurement system is in metric. But if yours is in feet and the rest, we use the imperial. So that's that. That's why when I go to new, it's taking me directly to the metric template. So I can just open a new drawing. And that's how, this is how it will look like. So what do we call this? This is your workspace. This is your Civil 3D workspace, basically. Let me just get to hide this because it's crowding. Right. Then I don't know if I can be able to move this one somewhere. Right. Amazing. So this is the Civil 3D workspace. This is how it looks like. So I'm going to talk about some of the tools. The main essence of the session is not for us to know the names of the tools. The essence is for us to get to understand how you can get to navigate through the Civil 3D workspace easily. So you don't really need to know all the jargon, like this is what we call this is this. No, you just need to know what it does, basically. Then when you get more interactions with the software, as you get more exposed, you will get to, some of the tools will get to stick with you and you'll be able to understand them better. So that's how you start a new drawing. And what I can say is that the arrangement of Civil 3D is more of a ribbon style. What do I mean by a ribbon style? It's more of, how can I say, it's more of like when you're having a Word document that has a table of contents, you have a topic, a chapter, then you go like that, like that, like that. So Civil 3D is more of the same. Like you have the parent tool, which might have some more tools under it. And they are arranged in a manner that it's really easy to navigate. So we'll start with the top right here. So we have these are some of the shortcuts that are there in Civil 3D. So the first one, again, that's the Civil 3D icon. If you want to open a new drawing, again, you can click on that. It will take you to a number of shortcuts where you can be able to open a new drawing. You open an existing drawing, you can be able to save or save as. So there are a number of things you can export, you can publish a drawing, you can print an output of whatever you're having. So that's that. Then when you come on these tools again, they are more of the same. We have, when you hover your cursor around this, it's a new drawing again, opening a new drawing. We have open, we have save. So these are more of shortcuts. This one for plotting or printing. This an undo, then we have a redo. Then right here, where we are having Civil 3D, so Civil 3D, you can be able to navigate from Civil 3D, which we use for road design, and you can be able to switch it to drafting and annotation. So for those who've been doing a lot of drafting using AutoCAD, this is the interface that you always use. The drafting and annotation, it's the same, it's AutoCAD basically. It's AutoCAD in Civil 3D. I'm sure for those who've used AutoCAD, this is the interface that you normally have. The tools are, of course, the draw, the modify, the layers, the annotation, and the blocks, properties, and the sort. But now, because you are working on when you're working on a road project, you cannot be able to do it using the drafting and annotation because these are basically just 2D. But when you go to road design, that's in 3D. So you need to switch back to Civil 3D. But this tells you that you can be able to switch from this workspace of drafting and annotation to Civil 3D. Then you have another one for 3D modeling if you are into modeling, planning and analysis, some pretty cool stuff you want to explore and all that. So we'll just switch back to Civil 3D because I want us to familiarize ourselves with this workspace. So I'll go to that. Then we have something right here, these drop downs here. This again for just controlling what we have here. So again, new, open, same. Most of these tools have been, so the ones that have been checked off are the ones that are at this point as shortcuts. So if you want to remove a shortcut from here, you just uncheck it. If you want to add a shortcut here, you just check it. For instance, I'm going to add a shortcut for show menu bar. Please note how this one looks like. We are having the Civil 3D icon, then we are having the home tab, then we are having the panels here. We are having we are having the home tab, then we are having the panels under the home tab. If I click on show menu bar, we have an extra line that has been created on top. We are now having the file, edit, view, insert, and the sort. These are more of shortcuts again. So you can be able to display or not, depending on what you're working on or what you want. So that's how you can be able to do that. So that's one thing. That's the menu bar. You can be able to hide it again if you want, but sometimes it's good to just have it there if you want to use it, to use most of these tools up here. For instance, if you want to import your points quickly, create your surface quickly, you can be able to do that. Alignment, profile, and the sort, as we'll be exploring as we proceed. So the next thing is, I've also said that the arrangement is in ribbon style. So I want us to start talking about the tabs. We have what we call the tabs. This is the menu bar. Then we have the tabs right here. So the tabs are the home, the insert, annotate, modify, analyze. Under the tabs, we have what we call the panels. So under the home tab, we have the tool space panel, the project explorer panel, and the sort. So the home is more of, how can I say it? It's more of the, like you do a lot of stuff under the home tab when you're dealing with Civil 3D. Why? Because when you look at these panels that we're having here, especially on the create ground data, create design, profile and section views, draw and modify, this is what we normally use. When you're doing the road design, you'll be using the create ground data to import your points, that's the first step. To create your surface, the second step. Then you go to alignments. Or if you want to create parcels, you can do that as well. Then you go to alignments, the profiles. Then you create your assembly. Then you draw your corridor. You generate your section views and the sort. Under the create ground data, create design, which is under the home tab. Now, when you're going to do the 2D drafting, you will utilize majorly the draw and the modify and the layers, of course. So the draw, modify, and layers, these are more of what's in the AutoCAD software. These are just tools to aid you in doing some drafting work. And this is what we are going to use. If you switch back to the AutoCAD layout or a workspace, which is the drafting and annotation, you find that the tools that you'll be having or the panels that you'll be having will be the draw, the one that we add, the modify, the layers, annotation, of course, because you need to annotate what you're drawing, blocks, properties, and the sort. Yeah, so in Civil 3D, if you are looking for a particular tool, you can find it in so many places. Provided you know what it does, they all do the same thing. So it doesn't matter if I draw using Civil 3D or if I go to drafting, I'll still get the same results. So that's basically under there, the home tab. Then I don't want to talk about the tool space, as I'm going to talk about that later down there. So don't worry about that. I want us to go to the insert so that we can be able to see what's under the insert. So when you go to the insert, some of the panels that come up are the import. If you want to import something into Civil 3D, for instance, a land XML. If you want to import a picture to attach a clip, we have some sets of tools that you can use under insert. So insert is basically you want to bring something into Civil 3D. This is where you use, this is where you get to insert that particular thing. Then when you come to annotate, annotate is more of, it's just the same thing that was under the drafting, under the AutoCAD workspace. This is basically annotating what you have. So this goes hand in hand with the draw and modify. After you've drawn your, whatever you're drawing, be it a pavement layer, be it a box culvert, what you're going to do, you'll need to annotate it for it to make sense to an engineer. So we use the annotate tab and the panels that are under it to annotate that particular drawing. Then when you come to modify, modify is majorly making adjustments. So under the modify again, you'll have the modify on the far right. This modification is on 2D space, like for line work and the sort. But when you want to modify something that's in 3D, you use now these, you edit the geometry, you edit the elevations, because you realize 3D, you have elevation. So this is where you get to modify them. The profile view, how do you want to modify it, the assembly, the corridor, you can do that under there. When you go to the analyze is more of computations. You want to generate the volumes, you want to calculate your quantities. For the quantity surveyors, you can be able to explore the analyze. because there are some pretty cool things here. You have the takeoff right here, the QTO, quantity takeoff criteria, and the sort. You can be able to do it using here. The mass haul, the volume report, everything, volume dashboard, grading, and the sort. That's under the analyze. Now, when you come to the view basically is how you orient or how you view anything you want in the workspace. So this is how you configure your viewports, and the sort can be able to have any orientation of the viewports that you want in the model space. There are a number of things, viewports, it's basically viewing. Like the cool thing about Civil 3D is that whatever name they have put there, it just means that like there is no, whatever you're reading is what you'll get. View, of course, how do you want to have your arrangement and the sort. Then when you go to manage, this is more of manage, I can say it's more, how can I put it? Let's say you're having a plugin, you want to have it in Civil 3D, you do it under the manage. You want to import styles from a drawing, you do it under the manage. So manage is more, how can I say, it's more, I don't know how I can say it, but you get the gist. You can get to explore the import, this for importing styles. You can be able to load an application if you want to input a plugin into Civil 3D. You can be able to run a script if you want to run something. It's more of programming for this one, because we also can see that we have Dynamo here. So if you do advanced Civil 3D, you can be able to explore the manage tab really well and be able to look at some of the cool things that are there. Then when you go to the output, it's basically outputting. After doing your design, you need to generate something out of your design. So you need to output it so that someone can be able to read. So that's what we call output. For you to be able to generate some PDFs like this and the sort, that's where you do the outputting, yeah, under the output, where you have, of course, when you're dealing with road design, you can be able to create your view frames. If you're dealing with plan and profile, then you can be able to create the sheets. Then you generate the section sheets in case of cross sections. You can be able to plot your drawings into PDF. You can be able to batch plot if there are many drawings that you want to plot or many pages of PDFs and you want to plot them as one, or publish, you can use the batch plot. Then we have some things like export to land XML. Let's say you have a drawing, you want to export it to an XML, you can do that. So there are pretty cool stuff that you can be able to do under the output. We might not tackle all of them, but when you get to explore, when you get to interact more with the software, you'll be able to know what most of them do. So the next one is survey. For the surveyors in the room, you can be able to explore this. Majorly it's about survey works. After creating a surface, what can you do? You can do a quick profile. You can be able to create a surface. You can check on some of the grading creation tools. How can you do some grading and the sort. I'll be honest, you're not going to touch on this majorly, maybe just under the launch panel. These are some of the things that you're going to utilize. But if you want to explore, you can be able to explore some of the things here and see what you can get. When you come to rail, I don't have any much knowledge in rail, but I understand that Civil 3D is also used in rail design. Captain West can be able to elaborate on that since he's doing some rail works. So he can be able to maybe shed some light into this. But these are some of the tools that you might use when you're doing rail design. So when you go to transparent commands, so first, before I talk about the transparent commands, I want to, Civil 3D is it's a brilliant software. It's more of an, I don't want to say an AI, but it's something brilliant. How? Why am I saying this? Is because whatever you're doing on your keyboard, the software can be able to communicate back to you. So we communicate to the software using commands. Let's say I want to draw something like a polyline, and I input a polyline command. A polyline is just drawing a line. When you input that command, the software will freeze. It's just going to wait for you to draw a polyline. There's nothing else that you can be able to do unless you escape from that command, like you quit from that command. But transparent commands are somehow different. Why? Because these are commands that can be executed when you are under an existing command. Let's say you are on a polyline command, but now you want to draw a polyline that has a specific length. So you see, those are two commands, right? Or that is in a specific direction or orientation. So transparent commands are commands that can be executed inside another command. That's the best explanation I can give for that. So for these transparent commands, where can we use them? You can use them in the profile when you want to do some, for instance, this one, station for plan, station elevation, and the sort. I have not utilized most of these, but you can be able to utilize them and check. Then we have the one that we normally use when you're doing the polylines for your survey works, what we call the point. So we have the point object, the point number, and the point name. These are some of the tools that you can be able to execute. Imagine importing survey data for a 20-kilometer road, right? And you want to do the line work for that entire section. So you can be able to use the point, is it the point object here? The point object command such that it makes your line work a little bit faster and easier than zooming in into a Kogo point to snap it at exactly where you need to snap it. When you activate the point object command, when you are under the polyline command, it will be easy for you to just click on the screen. I know it's theory, but we're going to see that when we reach what do we call it? Engineering surveys, can be able to use that command, then we see. So these commands under the transparent command or under the transparent tab are the same commands that are on my right hand side of my screen where my cursor is. So all of these are transparent commands and they are the same commands that are up here. So the next thing is InfraWorks. I'm not going to talk about that because this is something entirely different. Collaborate, I'm also not going to talk about that, but basically when we want to share data from one software to another, it's under the collaborate. Of course, we have help. Any auto-based software has help. So if you wish to get some help, you can be able to explore this. We have some add-ins. You're not going to explore that. This is where now you get to also load those shortcuts that we talked about, then express tools and featured apps, which you're not going to talk about. So I'll go back to home tab so that I can talk about the big thing in the room, which is the tool space. I've said that the tool space, home tool space, this is where we do almost everything in Civil 3D, right? Why am I saying this? Because just under the tool space, we have 4 tabs. As you can see, we have the prospector tab, we have the settings tab, we have the survey tab, and the toolbox, right? So under the prospector, remember also we said it's ribbon style. So when I click on prospector, there are a set of tools. When I go to settings, it changes. When I go to, sorry about that, survey, you see it changes and the sort. So when you go back to prospector, it contains everything that's in your design. For instance, let's say we've done our points importation. You've imported points into Civil 3D. They'll be stored under points. If you classify them to point groups, they'll be in the point groups. If you create a surface, it will go to the surface. So if you're looking for something in your drawing, this is now when you're dealing with 3D objects, not 2D, like Lineworks. No, it won't pick Lineworks. So this one we are under the road designer itself. You'll get everything here. So if you create an alignment, it will be under the alignment, under the centerline alignment. Then under that alignment, if you have a profile, it will also be listed under the alignment and the sort. If you create a corridor, it will be there. Your assemblies will be there. So this is majorly the prospector. When you go to the settings controls what is in the prospector. If you look at this, when you click on prospector, we have points, point group, surface. If you go to settings, we have general point surface. Like it's more of the same things that are under the prospector. But the difference is when you are at the settings, this is where you control some of the things in the prospector. Like you're controlling what's in your model space. Be it the styling, be it your design criteria that you want to use, be it like it's more of you're controlling what's in the workspace. Then survey, sorry to the surveyors, but you're not going to talk about anything here. But there are some cool things you can do about the databases. You can get to explore that, the survey database and the sort. Then when you go to toolbox, this is more of outputting in the sense of generating reports. Remember our output, when we are talking about this output, this was for production, like you want to produce drawings. You want to produce your CAD drawings in PDF, you use the output here. But now, what happens when you want to generate reports for your project? Be it quantities report, be it alignment, setting out report, be it profile curves report, design criteria reports, you do it under the toolbox, under the reports manager. When you click on this reports manager, you can be able to get a report of your alignment, the break line, the corridor, the parcel, and the rest. You can be able to generate a report. We also have a miscellaneous utility under the toolbox in case you want to export to a KML. This is what I've used. Then we have the, I don't know what that is, but we have some things right there that you can be able to explore as well. So we've been able to cover what's on top here. Then we've been able to cover what's on the left-hand side of the screen. Then now I'll shift my focus to what's down here. What's down here? So first, to the bottom left of my screen, we have something what we call the model and the layout. So what are these? The model is basically what we have here. It's the model space, where you're working on. And one thing is, this model space is something, so I can say it's more of the entire world. Why? The reason being, if, let me just get to activate something here. I want to, not this, I want to activate this one. You see that we are having some sort of grids. So this grid, it's the entire world actually. Depending on the coordinate system that you have, when you import something, it will be taken to that specific coordinate system. So the workspace is really huge, and this is what we call the model space. When you come to the layout is basically the paper space. What's the paper space? The paper space is where you bring your drawings if you want to generate them or to put them in PDF. You can be able to arrange them in the paper space, then you publish them in PDF. So this paper space, we'll be able to talk about it. It's basically paper, the papers that you use for printing. We have A0, A1, A2, A3, A4. So you can be, depending on the size of that paper, you can be able to set your paper space to your preferred paper that you want to output your drawings to. So layout 2 is the same, it's still the paper space. So we have two spaces, the model space and the paper space. So the next thing is I'll talk about this one right here. I know there's something white here that's saying type a command. This is what we call the command line. This is really important because this is where the software communicates with you. It's basically the interface for interaction between you and the software. And I normally say that if you want to get the best out of Civil 3D, is be keen to the command line. Be keen to what the software tells you. Because when you are executing a command, when you're doing something, the software will always communicate to you. If you're not keen, it means that you will be getting frustrated on so many things. Yeah? So make sure that you always check on the command line so that the software can also be able to talk to you. So the next thing is I want to talk about these tools right here on the bottom right of my screen. And these are what we call the status bar. What's the status bar? The status bar, it's majorly controls, if I may say, or toggles that aid you in doing your work in Civil 3D. So under the status bar, you can see that there's one for model. This is where you want to switch between model space and paper space. You can be able to switch it using this. Then we have something here, which is the grids. I normally don't like it, but you can be able to display grids on your drawing if you want, if you wish. Then we have the snap mode, if you want to turn that on. We have this one, this is what we call the auto mode. The auto mode, this one's cool. Why? Because let's say I want to draw a line. Let me just take you to the draw. We'll still explore this in depth when we come to draw the box culvert. So let's say I want to draw a line. If I want to draw a line, I'll go to the draw the draw panel. Then I click on the line. This is the polyline. Then check on the command line. It's telling you to specify the start point. So I'll click that as my start point. Then it will ask me the next point. So you see, I can be able to switch or to draw my polyline in any direction. But when you turn on the auto mode, it will fix your drawing to perpendicular or 90 degrees. Like you cannot be able to draw at an angle, you see? So it's really cool if you want to draw some straight objects or you want to draw perpendicular objects. For instance, when we'll be doing the drafting for a box culvert, you don't want your lines to sway because you see, when you erect the wall for the box culvert, it should be straight, should be in auto mode. So you'll have to turn on that auto mode. Then there's another cool one which you call the next one right here, right? It's polar tracking. I also like this because it can be able to tell you when you are at 90 degrees, you see, like you can get that green line. So it's also pretty cool if you're drawing on how can I say, when you're working on a project that requires you to draw some of the entities orthogonally, but for some of the entities, they need to be at an angle, so you can be able to use that polar tracking. So there are a number of tools here. We have this one, what we call the snap cursor. I'll get to explain what this is by clicking on this drop down here, just against it. So this is basically what we call object snap. What's an object snap? An object snap is, let's say you have a pretty crowded drawing. So object snapping allows you to snap at any node in that particular drawing. What do I mean by a node? Let's say I'm having a polyline like this. Let me just draw a random polyline like that. So for this triangle, we are having around, I can say we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are having 6 nodes. A node is either an endpoint, a midpoint, an intersection point, a tangential point. Like we are having a lot of, actually we do have a lot of nodes. So when you are having the snap cursor turned on, it means that when you want to draw a polyline or when you want to snap something to this particular drawing, you see, you have that 90 degrees or perpendicular degrees thing. That's because of the snap setting right here for the snap cursor. When you take it to this point, you are having that a rectangular box or that square. Is that a square? That's square. It's telling you, do you want to snap it at that particular point? Yes. Why? Because you see, when you're dealing in engineering projects, most of the things need to fit into each other. It's rare for you to have a box culvert that will snap at a point like that and you have some surface exposed. Yeah, we like to be orderly so that when you're drawing your things or your designs, they need to be end to end. Like they need to be aesthetically pleasing. So Civil 3D or Autodesk software allows you to snap and you can be able to control it under the object snap. So now, let me just open that. So these are some of this, the snap modes that we have. We have the endpoint, the midpoint, the center. So whatever drawing you're having or whatever entity you're having, the software already knows the endpoint, the midpoint, the center, the geometric center, the node, all this. So now there's one downside of this. When you're dealing with a pretty loaded drawing, turning everything on under the snap or the drafting settings will make your drawing to be or your software to be a little bit slow, especially if your PC is quite low. I don't know low on what. Wes can be able to guide us on that. But if your PC is not that strong, you're going to suffer. Why? Because imagine you're having a crowded drawing. The software needs to compute all the endpoints, the midpoints, whatever you're having in that drawing, so that when you want to draw any line, it can be able to tell you that, wait, you're having a node here, you're having a geometric center here, you're having a midpoint here. So you get the gist. So it's going to make your drawing a little bit quite difficult to work on. But it's normally good to turn it on if you're working on drafting works and the sort. So that's that. So we have another one that's important here. We have what we call selection cycling. Selection cycling, it allows you to pick entities that are laying on top of each other. Let's say you're doing your design, so there's a section in which you're having a sleep duct. And on that sleep duct, of course, you're having your line work on top of that. Be it, let's say you're having a line work for your road or whatever, but you want to pick the line that shows the sleep duct, which is below it. When you turn on the selection cycling, it will be able to show you that you are having lines on top of each other. So you can be able to toggle between one line and another. For instance, let me just draw another line just on top of this so that you can appreciate it like that. So because you're working on a 2D space, even if it were on a 3D, we cannot be able to tell that you're having two lines here. Also, if this one is turned on. So something that I didn't talk about, you can be able to turn all of these off and on like I did for this one. So if it's that blue or dark, it means that it's turned off. But if you click on it, you'll be able to turn it on. So let's say we turn this one off. Then I come and click on this line. You see, I'm just clicking on polyline. That's weird. Oh, I've turned off the wrong thing. Selection cycling is this one. Let me turn it off. Then I come and click on this. Are you seeing that I'm only able to click on one line? But when you turn it on like that, when you click on this, it's showing you that we are having two lines. So it asks you which line do you want to choose. So that's the importance of selection cycling. I know some of you might not have it at this point, but I'm just going to show you how to add it. So still under the status bar, we have some things right there. We have the scale, whatever scale, you can be able to control your scale right here. Then we have the settings, all this. So then, how do you add or remove some of the tools that are under the status bar? We have the three buttons at the bottom right of your workspace. When you click on it, there are some of the things that appear. So this is where you control what's on the status bar. All these that have been checked off are the ones that are down here. For instance, let me say I want the coordinates, you check it like that, you see you're having a coordinate right there. And I told you the model space, it's more of the entire world. So you can see we are at easting 1.87 and the sort and whatever. So we are having, when you zoom on it, like when you move, as you move, the coordinates keep shifting, right? So that's that. So you can be able to add things into your status bar. For the selection cycling, it's right here. So if anyone wants to add it, you can do that. Then you can be able to add some of these things. So you can explore on that, but I'll check off the coordinates. I don't really want them. So up to this point, I think that these are the transparent command. I think this is the only thing that I'm not being able to talk about, which is still what's here under the transparent command. Then the next thing, I don't remember the name for this tool right here, but again, these are just some of the tools that will be able to make your interaction with the whatever you're doing be a little bit easier, because you can be able to pan, you can be able to zoom. And the good thing about Civil 3D is that when you hover on any tool, the software will just communicate to you and tell you what that particular tool does. So there's something that I've been able to anchor at this point. This is what we call the properties. The reason why I'm having the properties right there is it makes your work easier. Let's say I want to measure the length of this line. I don't really need to go to dimensions. I can just click on it. Then under the properties, you'll be able to see the length right there, right? So that's why this is just the properties. It's more of properties, just giving you what you have. Like you're having something under layer 0, the line type, the properties of this particular line. Yeah, so you can also get to control 1. When you click control 1, when you're doing anything, when you click on an entity and you type control 1, it will bring up the properties. So I think I'll pause there for a minute, just in case I have any questions regarding what we've been able to talk about. Then I'll go straight to now 2D drafting, because I know that was a bit of theory, but at least you have a gist of how the workspace looks like, or what tool does what and the rest. So before we go to putting that into action, I can just take only 2 questions, then we proceed.
Okay. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
I just wanted to understand the layman's meaning of annotate. Yes. Annotate drawing, like the way you were saying. Yeah, just in a layman's point of view.
All right. To answer your question, engineer, let me just take you to a drawing that we have. So these are drawing. For you to, this is what we're going to do. We're going to actually produce this. So for you to draw, the draw and the modify, it's basically the line works. But the annotation will now come with the dimension, the texts. You see, these, the titles right here, this basically annotating the drawing, like giving it meaning. because when you go to the annotate, let's just go back to that. When you go to the annotate, you find that you're having text. Can be able to add text to your drawing. Can be able to add dimensions. Can be able to add markers. Can be able to add leaders or multi-leaders. So annotation is more of just making your drawing make sense in a layman's language anyway. Yeah. Since I just wanted someone to ask a question so that I know that I've been audible all through. So I think we can take
Okay.
that. Then I
So
can go.
I just wanted, hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question regarding, you've spoken about clicking the button for UCS, the coordinates for the area that you're working. Now my question is there a way you can add the Google Earth interface onto the workspace and draw whatever you're drawing within the exact site location via a satellite view? The other question I wanted to ask is regarding the datum for a certain location. Through that Google Earth, can you get the exact datum for, let's say, for that ground level, the benchmark for a certain area, where now from there you can extract you can get the reduced levels from there?
Thank you. At the moment, no. When we are at this point, we are at the 2D level. So when you go
Yes.
to clicking your points, yes, you can be able to do that in Civil 3D. But now when you're having at least a reference point, like you have a coordinate of some place, so you need to import that particular coordinate. Then you also need to know the coordinate system for that coordinate. So when you set that, you can be able to geo-reference that region. Then you can be able to have the map overlay of that particular region. You're going to do that actually when we'll be doing the engineering survey. So yeah, don't worry about that. We're going to handle that as well. And allow me to proceed now to 2D drafting. So the reason why you're having the 2D drafting course, or can I see it course, or yeah, the reason why you're having it on our outline is for us now to be able to use some of the tools that we've talked about. And the tools that we're going to use are basically the draw tools first, then the modify, then a bit of layering for layer management and the sort. So first, before I go to that, allow me to go to the next thing, which is basically setting units for your drawing and setting your drawing scale. So there are a lot of things that comes with the scale. I will not want you to just confuse yourself with the scale. Scale is not that much. It depends on your output. That's what I can say. The scale that you want to use will depend on what you want to produce. If you want to produce a small section of anything, maybe a culvert or anything, it makes sense for you to use small scales. But if you want to produce a layout for the entire stretch of the drawing of the road that you are designing, 6 kilometer 10, it means that you need to use a bigger scale for you to be able to capture that in the paper. Remember, a paper, an A4 paper, or let's talk about an A3 paper. An A3 paper is what we use now majorly. It's 297 millimeter by, I think, 420. So if you want to display a road that's 1,000 or 1,000 meters, it means that you need to think about that space of the paper. So that's going to guide the scale that you're going to use. But when you're doing drafting, you can be able to draft with whatever scale you want. But now for our case, you're going to do a box, you're going to draft this particular box culvert. And from this, you can be able to see that it's only 11.2 meters from wall to wall, the outer face of the walls. It's a twin cell box culvert. So this is what you're going to draft. I've shared the same PDF in the Telegram channel for you to be able to look at. So we're going to draft it. So the scale that you're going to choose, I'll choose a scale of 1:100, but you can choose whatever scale you want. I've said it's not that important unless now you're dealing with you are thinking about production. That's where now you need to factor in the scale. Then the next thing is, that's where you set the scale. You can be able to just set it there and you can navigate from one scale to the next. Then the next thing is probably the drawing units. So I want us to set our units in meters. So how do you set the units? Just type you on, then the units will come. You click on the units. Then for that, let's see what we have here. You have the drawing units right there. So of course, it's we want it in decimals. Precision, you can have it as 3 dp, that's okay. Then we want it in meters, right? So that's our drawing units. I want to change the precision to 2 decimal places. Then that's that. You can be able to just set that, then you just click on OK. So we've been able to set our scale and our drawing units so that whatever you're going to draw is going to be to scale, right? So that's that. So the next thing now is for us to explore the draw commands. So under the draw, we have some set of tools like the line. Is it a tool or a command? Whatever we have, this for drawing. Okay, when you click on the line, we have a number of ways in which you can be able to draw a line. So we have create line by point and range, create line by point and object, and the sort. So you can be able to explore that. Then the next one is how you draw an arc. So you have a 3-point, we have a start, center, and end. We have a start, center, angle. We have a start, center, and length. Again, we have a number of ways in which you can be able to draw an arc. The next one is what we call the polyline. In the event that you want to draw something continuous, you can see there it's telling us that a 2D polyline is a connected sequence of segments created as a single planar object. So it means that you can be able to draw or connect too many points such that that line will still be connected, right? So that's a polyline. So we have some tools like base fit. If you want to draw a circle, you can do that. If you want to draw a rectangle and the sort. So you have a number of tools right here under the draw. Then now when you come to the modify, it's more of you are modifying or you are doing some changes to whatever you've drawn. So you can be able to move something you've drawn, you can be able to copy something you've drawn, you can be able to stretch, you can be able to rotate, you can be able to mirror something, you can be able to scale something so that it can be smaller or bigger. Then we have the modification for trimming. Let's say you want to trim something, and under the trim, you have an extend. So you can be able to trim and extend. Then we can be able to fillet. Under the fillet, we have what we call the chamfer. Then we have the blend curves. Then we also have an array. We have a tool here that's really important, what we call the offset tool. We have the explode. Let's say you have something that has been joined, then you want to make them into individual entities. You can be able to explode that particular thing. Then you can be able to erase. Cool. I don't think I've ever used the erase, but you can be able to explore that. Then under the layers, this is where you control what you have in your workspace. Layering is really important in Civil 3D if you want to have easier management of what you are working on. So when you click on the layer properties right here, it's going to open up. This is what we call a contextual ribbon. A contextual ribbon is when you click on something and something opens, it's based on that context that you're working on. So this is what we have. So we have what we call preset layers for Civil 3D. As you can see, we have layer 0. This is more of the default layer. When you open Civil 3D, you will be under a layer. Like you cannot work without being in a layer. So when you open Civil 3D, you will be under layer 0. So you can either work on that layer or you create your own layer for easier management. So Civil 3D has some preset layers. For instance, the building layer, all these, annotate, see annotate. So when you're working on your road design, you find that the software will assign some preset layers. For instance, when you're working on a center line, it will be given the layer C road center. You can be able to change it, but now sometimes you really don't need to change it unless you're working on something new that doesn't have a preset layer. For instance, when you're going to work on our polyline, I know someone might ask, why is it really important for you to have them in layers? When you look at this drawing, when you see the outer lines or the outer boundaries of the box culvert, they are all in green, meaning they're under one layer. So probably whoever did the drawing did a layer for outline and gave it some, how can I say it, some settings so that the color should be green, the line type should be continuous, and the sort. You see the inner lines, they are a bit faded and they are a bit not continuous, they are hidden. So because there's a layer for that. When you check the dimensions, they have a specific color because they have a particular layer. So you're going to create layers for our line work. So whenever you're working on line works, you need to have a layer for it. So you're going to create 3 layers. Basically, you have the outer boundary, the hidden line, then the dimensions, and the sort. So I'll just create layers. How do you create layer? Under the layer properties, we have this icon right here for creating a new layer. You can also be able to press the Alt and plus N for you to have that. So when I click on that, you see a layer will be created. Then I can name that layer. Then there's something cool. When you check on this, you find that they are arranged in a alphabetical order. So let's say you want to create a layer and we call it outline. It will be down there, but we don't want that to happen. So what you can do is that you can do an underscore. The reason for that is for it to be above all the other layers that you'll be having. You can do an underscore, or you can do a 1 or a 01, whatever you want, so that it can be up there. Then I'll call it outline. That's outline, right? That's for the, okay, it's outline or the outer extents, whatever you want. Then we have some controls right here. We have this one. Okay, I can't be able to do that. So I've been able to create that. We have that one. I want it to tell me what it is, but it's not. But basically, this is what's for controlling whatever you're having in your workspace. Let's say you want to freeze any layer for the outline. When you click on this, the second one, it can be able to expand. Cool. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So you can be able to turn on and off a layer. So you can be able, when you click on it, you'll be turning it off. So it means that it will disappear. You can be able to freeze a layer as well. It will disappear. So I know I've said it will disappear, but there's a difference between the two of them. One of them is that the software is not going to do any computation on that particular. I don't know if the one that's turned off. Yeah, the one that's turned off. But for the freeze, the software will still recognize that you're having it on the model space. And if it's a computation that needs to be done, it will still be done. But when you turn it completely off, it means that it will be dormant. Nothing will be happening on it. It will not be shown on the model space. And again, nothing will be done on that particular layer that you decided to turn it off. Then you have a lock. If you want to lock a layer, you can be able to lock, meaning that you will not be able to work on that particular layer until you unlock it. Then the one for plot, it's really cool. Why? Because if you click the plotter button here, you turn it off, it means that as much as you're having that entity on the model space, when you go to produce your drawing in the layout, if you print that particular section of the drawing, the entities that has the plotter turned off will not be plotted, right? So it will not appear in the model space. So we can turn that one on. Then you can be able to change the color. For instance, let's say I just want to retain what we have, our outline be green. That's where you change the color. The line type, you can be able to change the line type here. We have a number of line types. We have the continuous, you have the center 2, dash, and the sort. I just want the continuous. Then the line weight, what line weight do you want to have? You can have the default, you can be able to increase as well, depending on what you're doing. Then the transparency and the sort. So that's that. So that's the first layer we've been able to create. So I'll create the next one quickly, which I'll call it inner boundary. I'm just naming it something, then I can be able to gray, right? Then the next one I'll create for dimensions. I want dimensions. Then I can be able to set it as red, right? So you can, that's how you create a layer. Then now after creating a layer, kindly note that you are still working under layer 0. So if you want to set a layer as the current, you can be able to, the easiest way is to just right click, then set current, right? So when you right click again, you can be able to create a new layer, you rename a layer, delete, or anything that you want. But I want to set this one as a current layer. Notice, when you set it as the current layer, under the properties, if you edit open, it will be you'll be having that particular layer under the layers. Also, under the layers up here, under the layers panel, you'll be able to see the outline right there as your current layer. After having it there, it means that whatever you're drawing, remember when we did our polyline, the first point, they were in white, but now you see it's in green because we are working on a different layer. So after doing that, we're now going to explore the tools. So there are a number of sections right here. We have this section, which is more of it displays the two cells, the bottom slab, the top slab, and the wing walls. Then we have more of a section CC where the cell has been cut, or the box culvert has been cut in the middle, where we are just able to see the walls, the bottom slab, the top slab, and the twin cell, of course. So these are some of the sections that we're going to draw. We'll expect you that when you're working on the deliverable, you'll be able to draw everything that's on the PDF right here. But for me, for the case of illustration, I'm going to work on this particular drawing right here, the second one, the section CC. I want to work on this one quickly. So I'll expect you I'll be working fast from here now going forward, because it's basically tools, and I want you to just confirm what I'll be saying, because I have a printout of the same, so I'll not be making reference to this particular drawing. And so I expect that on your end you have it opened so that we can move with speed. So when you have anything that you want to draw, you always need to find a reference point or where you want to start. In all my drafting work that I've done, I normally like to start from the left to the right and from bottom up. It's not the bottom up economy, but just from down here going upwards. So I'll be moving from the left to the right. The reason why I'm saying that is these dimensions are going to guide me. So for instance, the first wall or our side wall on the left is 400 mm. The dimensions here are in millimeters, so you need to be keen. And remember, our model space scale was in meters, or units is in meters. So it means that this is 0.4 meters. So I'll be working 0.4 meters. Then I'll be having a 5-meter cell, then another wall of 0.4, a cell of 5 meter, then the last wall of 0.4, a total of 11.2. So it means that from drawing the bottom line, it will be 11.2 meters, right? So that's what I'll start with, the 11.2 meters. Then I'll do an offset. We have a tool that we call offset, because an offset is more of a displacement perpendicularly. So I'll display whatever line I'll be having perpendicular by the blinding. We have a blinding of 5 cm, which is 50 millimeters. That's 0.05. So I'll do an offset of 5 cm for me to get this, the second line. Then I'll do another offset of 5 or 50 cm, which is 0.5 meters, to get the bottom slab. After that, I'll do an offset of now the 2.5 meter height for the cell. So it means that I'll be doing this line, this line, this line, this line pretty fast. Then I'll work from this one going this way. So I hope you noted that. So we'll start from the bottom. The bottom line was 11,200 millimeters. That's 11.2 meters. Remember the units. So I'll click on polyline. This is the first tool that we are exploring, the P line. Then it will ask me to select the start point. I want it here. And because I want my box culvert to be orthogonal, I'll have to turn off the ortho mode right here. After turning it on, I'll click on 11.2 meters, right? That's the length. Then I press enter. Then after doing that, remember it's a polyline, so it means that you have that control of drawing something else, but I don't want to draw it, so I'll just click escape on my keyboard. So the line looks so minute there. It is actually 11.2 meters. It's because you say the workspace is really, really, really big. So you need to zoom into it for you to get it. Just zoom. Or you can be able to use, let me show you a cool tool, ZE, what we call zoom extents. When you click on that, it will zoom to, what's happening now? This is embarrassing me. Should be able to zoom to whatever object that you're having, the zoom extent. So it means that if you're having some drawings that you're not able to see, when you click ZE, it will just zoom into it automatically. The reason why this one is taking a lot of time is because I think I did a lot of zooms on this one. So that's why it's a bit too far, right? So let me try and I can see even the length. I don't think we did the right length because I can see it's 11.19. So I don't know why it's.
I think Z enter, Z enter, E enter.
Yes.
Z enter, E enter. Z enter, E enter.
That one is still not working, but you can be able to use this one as well. I don't know.
Yes, yes. Click Z enter, enter, E
I've
enter.
actually done that twice, but there that E, but we're not seeing that. So just allow me to open a new drawing quickly, then you can see what's happening. I don't know what's up with that. That's okay. So we have that particular drawing. I'll set the scale to 1:100 quickly. Then I can be able to save my unit. Decimal, of course, that's that. I want that in meters, then I want it to be this, then I can say, okay, that's okay. So quickly, I'll create a layer for outline or outer boundary. So new layer. I can say this is the outer. Then I can have it as green. Then I can say, okay, then I want to set it as my current layer. After doing that, let me just do the polyline. I want to draw a line of 11.2. So I'll, of course, turn this one on. Then I do 11.2. Then I press enter. Then I press escape. So we can be able to zoom on this. So you see that this one is a little closer. The reason why that one was too far is because I had done a lot of zooming in and zooming out. So for you to just confirm if that's the right length, when you click on it, you can see that it's 11.2. You can also, after clicking on it, hover your cursor around it, then it will just give you the dimension. That's 11.2. So back to our drawing, I hope you have it opened. I say that we'll be using a couple of tools. So the first one is the offset, the vertical displacement, or the orthogonal displacement of an object. I want to displace it by 50 millimeters. That's 0.05 in meters. So the offset tool is right here. You can be able to click on it. Then it's asking you the offset distance. Remember to look at the command line. Then I'll just type 0.05. Then I press enter. Then the object that you want to displace is this one. The direction, just move your cursor upwards. That's 0.5. The next offset, I'm not going to use the command line just by typing it now than using the tool up here. So I'll just click on offset because that's still the command that we need to use. Click on offset. We need to offset it by 500 mm. That's 0.5. That's for our bottom side. Then I'll click on it. Then I say offset this line up by that. Like that, right? Then after doing that, the next stage now is for the cell itself, which is 2.5 meters. Do offset again, 2.5, then I press enter. Then we'll be doing that offset like that. So the next one, after doing a command a number of times, you can be able to right click, then you repeat the same command. So I'll do that. Then I repeat offset. Again, we need an offset of 0.5 for the top slab. So that's for the top slab. We have it right there. So we've been able to move from down upwards. Now I want to move from the left, ignoring the filter fabric at this point, this one in red. I want to move from this space for the wall all the way to the far right. So what we'll do is we go back to this. Of course, this face will be just like that. The line will be exactly as it is 33, 3550. So you can be able to use that to confirm it. You can see it's 3.55. That's quite okay. So it means that whatever vertical or the upward displacement that you've been having, it's actually accurate because this line is fixed. It's the same as the one that we are having here. So we'll do another offset with 4. That's to the left, to the right, I mean, like that. We have it there. Then for the cell, it's 5 meter. So we're doing an offset of 5 meter. Like that, to come there. Then we do another offset of 0.4, which will bring this one to this point right here. Then we do an offset of 5 meter again. Then we bring it here. Then we do another, the last offset of 4. Then we have this one fixed right there. So already we have more of the outer shell of, or the outer whatever of our box culvert. So the next thing is probably to clean this up so that we can have a cleaner box. So first, remember the bottom one is for blinding. So it means that this bottom, the 50 mm face should be continuous. So we need to clean these lines. So we do that by trimming. So I'll take you to the next command, what we call trim. So for the trim command, you can be able to select all the lines that you want to trim. Select, select, select. After doing your selection, you go to the trim command right here. So that's the third one. I think I've shown you the polyline, the offset. Now to trim. Click on trim. Trim is more of trimming, of course. So when you, after selecting the polylines, you just click on the section that you want to remove. So trim that, trim this, then get to trim this, right? So that's done. So we've been able to separate what we have right there. So the next thing probably is for us, of course, again, we can be able to trim this bit. So you can select them, then you click on trim so that you can be able to trim this and this, right? Right. Then also you can be able to trim this. I just want to separate everything here so that we remain with the cells right there, trim. We can do a trim for this one as well. So select. You need to be careful on which section you want to trim so that you cannot trim the entire line, right? So like that. We need to trim this, and also we need to trim this line. Then I can be able to select this. I can be able to select this one right here. Then I can do the trim as well. Can be able to do the trim for this. I also do the trim for this. I also do the trim for this. Apologies. Just kindly give me a minute, please. Just
Dawa yako ile, asante sana.
apologies for that. So after doing this is what we have now as our cell. So the next thing is probably to do the chamfer. As you can see, our cell, our box, it cannot be at a 90 degrees at this point because of the forces. You also need to have some chamfer at this point. So the next tool is what we call a chamfer. So we have a fillet, we have a chamfer, and the blend curves. So when you click on the chamfer, it will ask you select first line. We have some other tools, or I can say instructions that you can be able to input. And because our chamfer is based on distance, we'll choose the distance. And our chamfer distance is, of course, 0.15. Then I press enter. The next chamfer distance is 0.15. Then I press enter. Then what I'll be doing is just selecting the first line. You select the second line. It will do the chamfer itself. Okay, that's a bit weird. Control Z. So to undo, you can do a Control Z or a Control Z, which is not working. Oh, that's that. So let us repeat the chamfer. You can be able to type it chamfer. So distance the first chamfer distance should be 0.15, then I press enter. The second one is 0.15, then I press enter. So it will ask me, I hope that's okay. Yeah, I can select this one, then I select this. Yeah, that makes more sense. That's a chamfer of 0.15. Then you can be able to repeat the chamfer. You don't need to input the same dimensions unless it's a different one, because if you just repeat a, a command that you've just done it recently, it will pick the same, I can say, settings that you add. So you can do the chamfering like that. You do the chamfering for this face, repeat the chamfering for this face, like that. You repeat the chamfering for this face, like that. Then you do the last chamfer for that. Then of course you do the chamfer for this. Then you do the chamfer for this particular section. So, and just like that, you can see that we've been able to do our cell, just like that. We've been able to do this particular cell. So for the next one, I know someone might ask, how then do you do the whip holes? So for the whip holes, majorly you want any water that's behind on the side fill of your box to be able to drain into the particular box. So it means that the whip hole will be, of course, at this particular point right here. So depending on the instruction from the structural engineer, they normally give you that the slanting position of that particular weapon, but it's normally 75 mm. So depending on, you can decide how you want to place it, use offsets, or you use your own critical thinking, or whatever you want to use. You can be able, like drafting is something that you can do with your own way. It doesn't really have a formula. It doesn't really have a formula. So you can be able to do the weapons like that. So you see, for me, I've just used a reference point. You can also you can do the offsets as well. Draw a line offset, then you get the weapons. Now the location of the weapon, depending on the structural engineer as well. Some of them might tell you that you need it to be 300 above the chamfer right here. So you need also to figure that out. So one cool thing again is the mirror. I think I've not been able to show you how to do that. So I want to mirror these whip holes to the right. So you can be able to select. Then after selecting the whatever object that you want to mirror, you go to the mirror tool. When you click on the mirror tool, it will ask you the mirror line. The mirror line is more midpoint of what you want to mirror. So I'll just pick because I have the snap cursor that what the snap cursor and the status bar turned on. Kindly mute yourself. You can be able to use that to show you the midpoint of your box. Then you click on the midpoint, then the next midpoint. Someone is really unmuted. Ramadhani, kindly mute yourself.
Ngoja kwanza hilo Microcast unaipata kwenye hiyo ni TV gani? Hisense.
Ramadhani, kindly mute yourself.
Hisense.
Okay, thank you. So you can be able to do the mirror by selecting the two objects. After selecting them, can do the mirror. So right click, do a mirror. Then I can be able to choose my mirror, the mirror line, which is that midpoint. Then the next point is that. And I just say erase the source object of Cosmo. So you find that it will just mirror that one exactly. So someone might choose even to do one portion of the box, then you mirror it to the other side, right? So those are some of the tools that you can be able to do. You can copy. Let's say you want a copy of this. Let's say for the sake of your reinforcements, now you need to detail the reinforcement and you will want a reference because this will be in the arrangement details. You can be able to copy that particular layout and take it to whatever place you want. To move as well, just select what you want to move, hit the move command, then you can be able to move it, of course, with a reference point. So these are some of the tools to stretch. Let's say the cell is 5 meters, but after some consideration, the structural engineer noted that we don't really need a 5 meter cell, we can just do a 4 meter. So now, does it mean that you will have to do the entire line work? No, you can be able to do your reference for the 4 meter cell, because the only thing that will change is the internal width of your cell. So you just do an offset of 4 meter. Of course, from a reference point, I can do this from here. So I want, this is a bit ill-advised, but I can draw a polyline from that point, of course, an horizontal line, then I have it as 4 meter, right? So you find that my box culvert, escape. So it means that this face should be at this point. So after doing that, I just hit the stretch command right here. Then I select the side that I want to stretch. I want to stretch the right hand side. So I just select all these. Then I click on enter. Then specify the base point, which is this point. I want this one to be moved to this particular point. So you find that you'd have reduced that particular cell. So if I want to do it on the other side, I can be able to do a mirror of this. Now we can do a mirror at this point, because of course the length from this point to this point is no longer the same as the initial box. So I can be able to do a 4 meter as well on this side, from the center point. Then I do a 4 meter. Then I want to stretch it from the left. So I can do a stretch. Then I can select everything that I want to stretch like that. Then I press enter. Then of course, my reference point is this midpoint. Then I can be able to stretch it at that particular point. So just like that, without redoing a lot of stuff, you find that you'll have reduced that particular box culvert in 1 minute using the stretch command. So you can be able to mirror up, then the mirror to scale again, just select, then type SC, or you just click the scale command. It will allow you to either enlarge or shrink that particular box, right? But remember, when you do that, of course, the dimension will also change, right? So that's that. Yeah, so you can be able to explore some of these tools right here, but I just want to go to the next one, which is important, which is dimensioning. That's under the annotate tab. So after doing your box now you want to have dimensions on your box culvert for it to make sense, for someone to be able to interpret that particular box culvert easily, right? So you need to do the dimensioning. Yeah. So under the annotate, we have the dimension, then we have the leaders, then we have the texting. So you can be able to do all of that. So first, let me create a layer. I want to create a layer for dimensions. So if I do layers, then I just create a new layer. Then I can call it dimensions. Then I can have it as red. Right? Let's see, okay. Then I can set it as my current layer. Or not necessarily, but let me just set it as the current layer. So now let's check this. When you go to annotate, we have what we call dimensions. Right here, you can be able to click on this. Then I want to dimension from this particular point all the way to this particular point. Then you drag it up there. That's how dimensioning works. After picking on a dimension, you just do it, then you do that. Now, the thing is, for this dimension to be visible, we need to zoom on it, right? So what happens now? Let's say I've done my dimension all through. I've done a dimension for this, maybe from this one. Okay. I want to do others, okay? So I can just, let me just have some reference, because I'm seeing that's a bit hectic to dimension this. So I can do this. I want a dimension for this wall. Then I want a dimension of the bottom slab at this point. So I want to repeat dimension. So I want to dimension it from this point. So you can do a continuous dimension like that. When you do it like that, anchor it at that point, you can click on that particular dimensions that you've done, then have your cursor on this node at this point, then it will ask you to either stretch, baseline, or continue dimension. So I want to continue my dimensioning like that. So I want to dimension the wall like that. Then I want to do the last dimension at this point. then probably the dimension for the line. So one thing that you realize is that for this particular dimension, it will need us to zoom for us to be able to see the particular dimension. Then how then are you able to make your dimension legible so that when someone looks at your drawing, just like the PDF that I've shared, someone can be able to read that particular dimensions or interpret the drawing. So we have what we call dimensions style. Dimension, let me just open it. Under the dimension, when we have an arrow right there, when you click on it, we have what we call the dimension style manager. The dimension style manager, apologies, is going to move setting that dimension style. So we use the standard dimension for this one. Annotative is cool because when you change the scale, it will also update. But I like using the standard because it's easy to work with. Then after clicking on the standard dimension, you go to modify. So when you modify the dimension, there are a set of or a number of things that you might modify. For instance, we've seen that our dimensions are not that legible. You're not able to read on them. So it means that there are some tweaks. For instance, like the text heights, we need to increase them. So there are a number of things in the dimension style manager. We have the lines. How do you want your lines to appear? Because you set a layer, we don't really need to change the lines. But if you wish your line to be maybe gray, another color, you can be able to control them right here, right? So at the moment they are by block and they pick the layer that you set into. But if you want to give it a particular color, you can be able to do that, right? So we also extend beyond text. I don't know what that is. You can be able actually to modify some of these things and check how it correlates in the preview window right here. We have the baseline spacing. It's 0.3. Let's see, we have it as 0.8. There's something happening in the preview window. I don't know if something has changed, but I'm just going to take it to 0.38. Then we have this one for suppressing. I will not advise for this. It's basically when you click on suppress dim line 1, you see it removes that particular extension. Dim line 2, it removes that one. So you don't really need to check that one off. So these are some of the things that you can be able to explore. We have the extend beyond dim lines, extend beyond dimension line. Let's say I want to extend by 0.5. See what happens. So it's more of that particular extension right there. As you can see, ours is a bit small, so you can be able to increase it to that and see what happens. Offset from origin. What's the offset that you want from the origin of your dimension? Let's say I want to offset it by 0.1. See what happens. You see, like it's shifting a little from that. It's good actually to offset from the origin so that someone can clearly look at the outline of your drawing and at the same time be able to check that the dimension is from this particular point to this particular point. Then we can be able to go to symbols and arrows. So this one, depending on what you're working on, if it's an architectural drawing, there are some of the things that we need, the arrowheads that they recommend. So you can be able to use the close fill, good enough, the oblique, good enough. This one just depends on whatever template or what you have at your workplace. So we can experiment with the oblique. Then the leader, of course, the leader should be close filled. You can have a dot depending on what you display again and the template that you're working on. The arrow size, I want us to increase this one as well. Let's have it as 0.5 and see what happens. You can see that it has increased significantly, right? So this is where you control the what you have in your dimensions. So we have a number of things right here. This one right here is this the text right now? I don't know. What's the jog height? Let's have it as 2 and see what happens. So some of these things you need to extend. I can't see anything. So you need to experiment on them so that you can get a very good grasp on what you're working on. But of course, if you have a template, it will be easier. So by experimenting on this one, you get to update your work until you have a standard template that you'll be using when you're dealing with these kind of drawings. So the text height, again, this is when I control the text height. Let's say I want the text style, of course, it should be standard. Let's say I want the color to be maybe white. I don't want it to pick the red. Then the fill, you don't need to have a fill because look at that. If you have a fill, it's going to be a bit not that good. So we say none. Then I want my text type maybe to be 6. So let's see what happens. It's a bit bigger. Then of course, the text placement should be in the vertical orientation, should be centered, of course. In the horizontal orientation, again, should be centered. Then the view direction should be left to right, unless you are in those countries that write from, they do their notes from right to left. That one now you have to shift this one from right to left, right? Then there's something important, the text alignment. Kindly note this, we have horizontal alignment, then we have aligned with the dimension line and the ISO standards. So I like us to pick the aligned with dimension line. This one means, look at the vertical dimensions. You see, like it's giving the text in an horizontal orientation, meaning that if you add this dimension line so close to whatever object you add, the text will overlap into the drawing. But when you have it as aligned with dimension line, it means that it will follow that particular orientation. Either it's vertical, horizontal, it will take that orientation, right? Then the fit, do you have anything really to change? I don't think so. The primary units, this is where if you want to manipulate your units such that your model space is in meters, but you want to display the units in millimeters, you have to choose that scale factor so that you can use it to convert the particular unit of measurement that you're having. So you have the alternate units, tolerances, and that. So you can be able to explore on that. Then when you hit on OK, then you close, you can see it's able to update automatically. So that's the beauty of the style manager. It's going to do it automatically to all the dimensions that you're having in that model space. So remember, there's that changing using the dimension manager, and also there's clicking on this dimension. Then on the properties panel, you can be able to modify some of the what do we call them? Some of the, like, you can be able to modify your dimension how you want to look like, because under the properties you can be able to see that we are having the same settings that we've been able to set in the dimension style. Now the only downside of this is that when you make any modification on this, for instance, let me change the arrow size to 0.8, it's going only to be implemented in these dimensions that have been able to highlight. It will not be done to the entire drawing unless you now bring in another tool that we call merge properties. Merge properties means that it will pick the properties of whatever you're having and implement it on the next object. For instance, it's asking us to select the source object, which is this one. I want to match which object, the next one. So it's going to increase the size of the dimension. Yeah, so that's that. So basically the dimension style manager is same as, again, the text. If you want to do text, you can be able to do that. And also you control them under the text style manager. Same thing again, you can be able to choose the font that you want. Let's say I want this. Then I want my font to be maybe Arial or Times New Roman, whatever. Then maybe the font size should be regular if you want that. Whatever the height. Okay, we're not dealing with annotative, so there are a number of things that you can be able, of course, to just set. So basically, the dimension style, the text style manager, and the multi-leader is pretty the same, right? So if I go look at that, so it has been able also to update the texts for, including the text for our dimensions, right? You can see that the font is a bit different. So I want to show you the multi-leader, which is basically the arrows and the sort. So just type M leader. When you do that, you'll have the multi-leader. That's basically the multi-leader. It will ask you to specify where you want your multi-leader to start. So I want it to be at this point. Then I want it to be at that point, right? Then it will give you a text box. The multi-leader is more of an arrow attached to a text. So I can say it's play. Right. Then I just press on enter. Right? So you can see it's something like it's too big, right, for a drawing. So again, how do you set that? You can be able to click on it, then it will give you some properties. Then you can be able to change the properties. But the best way is to go to the multi-leader style manager right here. When you click on the multi-leader style manager, again, it's the standard. You can be able to modify it accordingly, right? When you click on modify, that's what we have. So under the modify, of course, the multi-leader or the leader style, what do you want it? You can have a spline. That's how a spline looks like. But I like it as a straight. The color, let's have it as, maybe you want it to be cyan. It will just show you in the preview window. Of course, the arrowhead size, we have it as 4 at that point. Let's say I want to reduce it to 5, depending. The break size, oh, that's a bit minute. So you can experiment. The break size, I think it's this small of this landing at this point. You can be able to increase it depending on what you want. See, put 3. Then when you come to the leader structure, that's what we have. Oh, this is the landing distance. So you need to check what the break size is so that you can be able to know. Then we have the maximum leader points. You can be able to have a number of leader points from the same source, but 2 is just quite enough. Then you have the landing distance again. You can be able to experiment what that is. Then of course the content where you have the text. For instance, you are having a text height of 4. Let's say you want a text height of 6.6 and the sort. Of course, you can be able also to change the color of your text. Say want to be white. And that you have the landing gap for the text now, depending on what you want, and you say okay, close, and it should be able to apply. So you can see. So now this is how you do some of these things. When I look at this drawing, I think we've been able to do most of the things except the hatches. Hatching is basically hatch. So you use the hatch command. You have the hatch command, or you can be able also to explore this is the hatch command right here, or you can just type hatch. So when you click on it, it will ask you to pick an internal point. So hatch, you do it on an enclosed space. So if I pick on this, the one on the bottom, like that, you see it's telling me a closed boundary could not be determined. The reason is because this space, like it's so small. So for you to hatch it, you need to make sure that it's entirely closed. So you can be able to hatch this just for illustration. So that's how you do an hatch. So you just you pick an internal point that is totally closed. Then you can be able to change the hatch style. We have a solid hatch. By clicking on it, you can be able to manipulate it. You can be able to change it. You can be able to, of course, increase the scale, reduce the scale and the sort, so that you can get your desired hatch style, right? So for that one, it's not, I don't know why it's not changing. You can as well get to change the layer. So hatching is not something that it would be of great or be of difficult to you. The thing that would be a bit challenging, and it will need your patience and your resilience, is making sure that your drawing is legible. What do I mean? I mean, you need to set your dimension style. Remember, there's no formula. I know maybe someone might think that there's a formula that you need to input. No, you need to work on it so that you come up with your own template, such that when someone looks at your drawing, it's as legible as this. So it means that you need to make sure that your dimension takes height and the sort and the arrow ends or the yes for the dimensions, they need to be visible. They need to correlate. The height for the dimension needs to correlate with the height of your multi-leaders or your text in that matter. So you need to use this PDF as a sample so that you make sure that you generate a drawing that's more of a replica to this, but you don't need to have the lines to be green or the sort. Remember, there's a way in which you can be able to export the PDF to Civil 3D. You can do that, but again, we'll know that you've been able to export that. So it means that you'll not have done any work literally. And the essence for this is to just get you used to the software. So our deliverable will be drafting, of course, in everything that you've done. You open your drawing, set your units to meters, set your unit scale, whatever you want. Draw all the outlines in this, all of them. Like, so you need to have this, all of them. Of course, you need to have your layers well set. Do all the hatching, do all the dimension, do all the annotations. Yeah, make sure that your drawing is as legible as possible. Do not shy away from experimenting on the style managers. Just do some modifications here and there so that you make sure that you are having a legible drawing like this. Just have this in the model space. You don't need to have it in the paper space. Then you'll submit your work for review. So the last thing that I want to touch on, I really don't want to spare to use a lot of your time. So I'm in my final touches is how you submit your work. So after doing all your drawings, I know we've not talked about saving your work. After doing all that, all you need to do is come here, then you save your work. So you can save as because you want to assign it a specific name. Save as. Then I want to save it to, let's say, my desktop, right? Then now we have a prescribed format of saving your work. Let me just go to the channel. I don't know if you get that. Probably not. So just go to course learn. Then let me pick prescribed format. Am I really searching? Yeah, so we have what we call a prescribed format for submitting deliverables, right? So I'll just come here and paste it so that we can be on top of things. So we have the prescribed format for submitting deliverables. What's the prescribed format? The format is, first, you need to check on how you save your work. You save your work as your name plus the deliverable name. So for instance, when I save this work, I'll be saying Blesias Chilimo. Then either space or a dash, deliverable one. So your name, what's happening now? Your name and your deliverable. Let me just take it to download, save. I don't know if it's been saved. No. Whatever. So it should be your name, deliverable one, right? Then you save it to whatever place you want to save it, right? Like that. So after doing the save, you realize that it will pick that name there, Blesias Chelimo deliverable one. That's that. So the next thing is, after saving now, how do you submit it? We have a prescribed format in which you need to state your name again, your profession, your country, what you enjoyed while working on the deliverable, some of the challenges that you face, and areas you need help in. So this is the procedure that, or the format that we want you to submit your work. So what I'll do is I'll just come to, I don't know, did I stop sharing my screen? Oh, it's still there. So I can be able to maybe copy this so that I have the right format, this like that. Then what I do is that I go to this. If you're using your PC, it's good to use the desktop or the laptop, whatever, the Telegram. Then you click on this. I don't know what that is. You click on that, then you source where you save your drawing. So I'll go to this. Let me try and look for that. This is my drawing. You share it as a DWG. Click on it, then you open. So you'll have the attachment there. So now you just don't send the attachment. After having it there, you need to have the prescribed format, your name. So I can say name. Of course, it's Blesias Chilimo. Space bar. Profession, I'm from Kenya. Oh, profession is what I do because I'm a civil engineer, right? Then country, I'm from Kenya. Right? Then what you enjoyed working on the deliverable, right? So that's that. So you write whatever you enjoyed working on. I enjoyed experimenting on and blah 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 and the sort, right? Then the next thing is challenges faced. Yeah, so this is when I would like you to be a little bit descriptive so that we can be able to tailor a specific response for you. So you can say that I found a challenge, in changing the style, okay, changing the height from the height from map for one multipliers as I was not seeing. It should be right. So you need to do that so that we can be able to write a specific tailored response to you, right? So you need to explain the specific challenges that you face. So for the areas you need help in case you still have some areas that you need more explanation in, this is when I get to write. Then you just hit on send. So when you do that, it will be easy for me to know exactly what I need to look at in your deliverable when you submit it. Yes, because I have everything here. I have your work. I can be able to pinpoint where you had a challenge. I can know where you enjoyed working on, so that also when I see that you enjoyed working on something and someone else is facing a challenge in that particular point, I can be able to refer them to you so that maybe offer some help to them. Yeah. So that's basically how we submit your work. This is important because if you don't use this format, you're not going to review your work. The deliverable should be a capital. Sorry for that. So you can do that. So the deadline for submission of the deliverable is usually before the next class 5 p.m. So we're going to have a class on Saturday. It should be a feedback session, but since because of the software issues, we didn't have a class on Tuesday, the Saturday session will be a class. It will be a full class. So we might have maybe a 20 minutes just brief feedback, then we go to engineering service. So we need you to submit the work before 5 p.m. of that day. It doesn't mean that you can submit your work today night or tomorrow morning, you still can. And we want you to submit it as early as you can so that we can be able to review and offer some valuable feedback. I think I've taken 5 minutes of your time, but that's it for me to read. I hope we've been able to get a thing or two from that. And now I'd like to just take one question, then we call it a good night so that you can be able to rest.
I just want to ask you, in which channel are we to send these deliverables? Are we going to submit in our cubes or what? Deep cubes?
Yes. All deliverable submissions are done in the deep cubes. Don't send your drawing in the deep cubes. And also, we are going to share an up-to-date list for the deep cubes. So don't worry about that. We'll share it by tomorrow morning so that you can have it, so that you know the right deep cube that you need to join. Yes, Darlington?
Hi, thanks. I just want to check. I saw that on your AutoCAD Civil 3D, your layer properties, you had a number of layers which are not common with my Civil 3D. I wanted to check, are your layers predefined or you created them, just to be sure that we are working on the same platform? Thanks.
Thank you. For the layers, I think they are predefined. You should be having the same layers. I don't know why you might not be having the same layers. Which version of Civil 3D are you using?
I'm using Autodesk Civil 3D 2025.
That's interesting. I don't know if Wes is in the meeting. Maybe you can share light on that, but I like to think that we should be having the same layers because those are the default Civil 3D layers. Unless now you want to create yours, then it can be a little bit different, but they should be the same actually.
Okay, all right. Maybe I just need to have a further check on that. so that our layers are aligned, because I don't have most of those predetermined layers.
Okay, we can be able to check on that so that we can know where the problem is, but we should be having the same layers actually.
Okay, thanks. I'll wait for you then.
Okay, but in the meantime, maybe just take a screenshot of the layers that you're having, or a snip of your screen for the layers that you're displaying. Then you can be able to share either to me or to Wes, or in the channel, so that we can be able to know where the issue is.
All right, I'll do that right away.
All right. If that's all, I don't know if
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi, sorry, I did not get where I was supposed to submit the deliveries.
The deliverables, you submit them in the deep cube. Are you in a deep cube? Okay, so don't worry. So a deep cube is what you call is the small communities that we have. As you can see under the code 12, in the forum channel where we can get to chat. I'm in the main channel where now only the admins can be able to share. Then I'm having a third group which we call the deep cube. So for those who are in the meeting and are in deep cube 2, kindly join the deep cube. I'm your captain. So this is where you share your deliverables. This is where you get to interact. So all of you have been placed in a particular deep cube. If not, we'll share the list tomorrow so that you can know the deep cube that you are in. And that's where you'll be doing most of your interaction. It doesn't mean that you can chat in the forum. You can still do that. But in terms of the reason why you're having the deep cube is because of so that you can be able to manage your work easily. Yeah, because dealing with a group of maybe 14 engineers, easy to check on their work, to check on their progress, than just having all of you in one group. Yeah, so you submit your work in the deep cube, and in the deep cubes we have a captain who will be able to be responding to your questions, helping you here and there, and that's where most of your interaction will be done. So we'll share a list for the deep cubes. Oh, I was talking about something that you're not able to see. So now noting that. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. For me, I'm in deep cube 2. I hope you can be able to see my screen. So I'm having the chat right there, the forum. What's that? Yeah. So we have the forum. So we have the forum right there. Then we have the main channel and the deep cube. So all of you should be under deep cube. We'll share the list tomorrow so that you can be able to join. I like to close the meeting at that point or give it back to.
Hello, sir.
Sorry, thank you for that. Last question. Do we have a due date or a closing off for submitting any work that you've given us?
No, we don't really have a deadline, but it's not good for you to stack up the deliverables. Why? Because if you do that, actually, you're not going to finish the course. We've had around 11 cohorts, and for those who do to 1 or 2, they get left behind. They normally don't finish the program. So it's normally good for you to be up to date or to be in pace with the rest of the with actually the before the next class. Make sure you submit your work. It's still okay because of 1 or 2 you can be late, but don't let 2 deliverables pass you before submitting, because now you'll just be playing catch up, and that one will affect your progress entirely.
Thank you.
All right. So Engineer Nderi, I think I can give you the mic so that you can close off the meeting. Thank you so much for attending today's session.
Okay. Once again, it has been a pleasure to have you in today's session. I see Hussein Ali has their hands raised. Have you addressed their question, engineer?
Yes, engineer, thank you. No, I would like to ask Precious that are you going to do all the drawings or for the deliverable number 1?
Yes. We are supposed to do all the drawings. The workflow is the same for each and every drawing. So let's just finish up on all of them. Is that okay?
This is okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Captain Blasius, for taking us through that informative session. And thank you guys for allowing the presenter to present without interrupting his train of thoughts. As I had said earlier, please always make sure that before you join us with your full names, because again, we usually do tracking of all the participants. We try to weigh your progress, your attendance. Yeah, sometimes it is for us, and again, it is for you also, because we want to know how much engaged are our participants and areas we can improve to make them even more engaged. So please make sure you have your two names in every time you join the meeting. We will forgive you for today's session because we hadn't really talked about this before. I see someone like Abdi. I don't know it's who Abdi, and the participant who had joined with the three dots. Please, let's ensure that in our next session we have our full names on display. Other than that, I want to wish you a good night. See you on Saturday.